Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me for this webinar, Marketing with Compassion. So today we're going to be talking about marketing in a new way. We've got people from all over the globe joining us this afternoon, so welcome to everyone. Depending on where we are in our current environment, marketing has changed massively. And as we're coming back to work, this webinar is really about how we translate our offering into a different perspective, given that before COVID-19, we were probably marketing in a more outbound way, a more proactive way. And for the moment, at least, we are back to nurturing inbound sales. So without further ado, my name is Will Roig. I'm a senior partner here with Action Coach. This is a series, my next in a series of masterclasses based around everything to do with business. This one is obviously about marketing. The next one, look out for it, it's going to be around sales process, and it's going to cover some exciting things around that. Before we move on, if I could just ask you, if you can see my screen, would you be so kind as to raise your hand? And if you can hear my voice. Okay, that solves that one then. Everyone's in and ready to go. So brilliant. We'll move on. Okay, so why now? Why are we talking about marketing now? Well, because it's never been more important than to be telling our customers, clients, suppliers, potential stakeholders, anyone connected with our business, what we are doing, how we are open for business, and in certain cases, if we're not yet open for business, what are we doing to get back to work? So this webinar is really about avoiding the mistake of becoming your market's best kept secret. So what is marketing? It's about helping you stand out. It's about being the operator in your market, in your industry, in your sector, that stands out above the competition so that you win the business that you want to win with your target markets, not with customers that you don't particularly want. So it's about helping people to find you. You may not be able to get to them proactively at the moment. There are still lots of people, given the lockdown we've had, and depending where you are in the world, there are lots of businesses that still haven't come back. Our research has shown, even up until now today, in the UK, there are still many businesses that haven't gone back to their work premises. And so outbound marketing has become limited in its effects. So with that in mind, that outbound marketing not working, we have to change our focus. And when we're changing our focus to inbound marketing, to attracting leads coming to us, attracting business coming to us, we have to look at this in a very, very different way. So in the words of Andy Bounds, one of the UK's most prolific sales trainers, he says to be clear on your afters. Now, what I mean by afters, your afters or your customers' afters are the benefits that your customers receive from having dealt with you. So I'll say that again, it's the benefits that they receive after having dealt with you, after having received your product or service. How have you left them? So it's your job to become an afters causing thing. So why do we use the word compassion in what we're doing at the moment? Well, with things like Black Lives Matter and COVID-19, people are needing a different message. People have reassessed their values, and as we're moving from lockdown, possibly to shut down, back to lockdown in a different way, to a possible further freeing of the marketplace, and then who knows what else. People require a lot of support. So this now comes down to empathizing with your customer situations, engaging with what's important to them, educating them in what you do, the products you sell, the services you sell, and having an ethos of helping and giving rather than selling and asking for things. So this is really about adding value. And it doesn't just stop when we talk about lead generation, but once we've generated an inquiry, the message needs to extend right through our customer journey. So marketing isn't just about lead generation. Your customers can take a number of different routes to solve their problems. If assuming that everyone on this webinar today has got some competition in their marketplace, then their clients, their prospects, their customers all have a number of options to solve their problems. But we want them to choose our option. So how do we do that? We need to work to understand what their problem is and provide the perfect solution. And that means tailoring the customer journey to what the customer wants to receive. Yeah. Now, along that journey, there may be numerous touch points. So we need to make it obvious and easy to understand and guide our customer through. Okay. Don't lead them down a dead end where they can't get from you what they need from you, because otherwise the next competitor in the marketplace will. So as I said before, this is really about starting to think about shifting your strategy. So as opposed to more traditional marketing methods, which evolve around proactive marketing, going out and getting business, things like dropping into businesses, telemarketing, postal marketing, things like that. We're now more inclined to be inbound because, like I say, we can't attract a lot of those customers. A lot of those customers aren't there. So all we can do is put ourselves out there in such a way that we attract our customers on an inbound basis. Okay, what does that do? That improves customer experience because we have no option but to show ourselves off in a great light, because people have a choice whether they get in touch or not. Okay, so we need to be attraction and retention focused. So it's not just about attracting new customers. We need to retain the customers we have, and that's by offering great customer service along the way. So once you've got the customers, you keep them coming back and back time and time again. And one of the things we can do is attract past customers, people that we have worked with in the past that perhaps aren't working with us now. And, making sure that we put in place the wow factors in our business that ensure that our customers don't go spending money with anyone else. They stay with us for the longer term. So in reality, what does that mean? It means marketing on using technology. It means going online. So whether you're experienced or new, what is your social media strategy? It's not just as simple as putting a message out there or starting a website or every now and then putting a post on Facebook. There needs to be a coherent strategy that links all of your platforms, that links your message, that provides some coherence with what you're doing so that you're giving the same message wherever you may be interacted with. Okay. So, these days, most people are marketing on multiple platforms. We've got LinkedIn, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got our websites, we've got Twitter, we've got TikTok, we've got lots of different things where people are putting themselves out there. We need to ask ourselves, what is the required outcome? Why are we doing it in the first place? Well, ultimately to gain business. But if we just put our adverts out there saying, okay, right, we want to sell you this, we want to sell you that, we're not going to get very far. Like I say, it has to be developing an inbound message. And the way we do that is focus on adding value and the benefits. So the required outcome, far before we get to any thought of winning business or doing some business, the outcome of social media marketing is to take the conversation offline and develop a strong relationship. In 9 times out of 10, obviously, if we're selling low-priced impulse purchases, that type of thing, then yeah, for sure, an e-commerce website, and there may be very little interaction. Then your marketing becomes about hitting the masses, about SEO, about making sure that you're in front of enough people to get enough sales. But for those of us that are selling based on relationships, higher priced products and services, we need to build relationships. Okay, so with your website, what's the best thing you can do with it? Well, you need to update content regularly. You need to build SEO via content, not tricks. Don't try and beat algorithms, but work with the algorithms with great content, great keywords, and great help. I'm no website expert, but trying to fool algorithms into getting you a good position on a search doesn't work. great content and regularly updated content and reviews and such like does. So that's where your focus around websites should be concentrated. Okay, your website is a showroom. With this in mind, it's your shop window. What should it look like? Well, given that you get around 3 seconds to convince a website visitor to read on, and then if they do read on, you probably get another 30 seconds to increase desire to the extent that they want to interact with you in any way, then my advice would be always to follow AIDA principles. What does that mean? AIDA principles are a set of principles put in place which is best practice around advertising and marketing. So AIDA, A-I-D-A, A stands for attention. So generally speaking, in our marketing, whatever it is, we should have an attention-grabbing headline. So something bold, something that's going to attract the prospect very, very quickly. Once we've attracted them, the body of our text can raise interest. It can create interest in what we're talking about, what we're providing, the way we help our customers. And then the third section is about creating desire. And that's followed up with a call to action, a very strong call to action. Now, I don't know about you, but I see so many websites where they make it very, very hard to make contact. So as far as I'm concerned, your call to action, what do they do when they want to take further action or make contact with you? It should be very prominent on your homepage. There should be a way of getting in touch with you. Okay, highlight the afters and don't we all over yourself. And what I mean by that is, again, lots of website copy talks about we do this and we do that and we do the other. Frankly, your customers don't want to know what you do. They want to know how it affects them, what the benefits they receive from what you do. So how they are left after having dealt with you. Okay, so don't we all over yourself, talk about your customers, not you. Okay, so of course we've talked about going online, and that means content. So what about content? We need to consider the needs of customers, and we can do that, and we can give out valuable information which creates interest in what we're doing via blogs, via vlogs, on a daily basis, social media posts, live videos and interviews, white papers, case studies. There's loads and loads of different things that we can do to create content, and we're going to go into that a little bit deeper. But first and foremost, I just wanted to ask you the question and pose the question, what are sales decisions based on? Well, we know that 80% of the buying decision is made up of emotion and 20% is logic. And in fact, if we delve a bit deeper into that, identifying a need is based around logic. Now, when someone identifies that need, that's a logical decision to say, I need this, I need that to solve this problem. Then the emotion kicks in. Which one should I buy? Who treats me better? Who do I like better? And then once they've bought it, particularly if it's a higher priced item, they follow up with logic. Did I make the right decision? And so the way we market and the way we follow up with the sale has got to be done in such a way that we avoid what we call post-purchase dissonance. So congratulating the buyer for having made a great decision in buying our product or service is commonplace. You may have seen it when you buy expensive electrical goods. Inside the box, there's a leaflet which congratulates the buyer. That's what they're looking to do. Okay, so emotion has a couple of fronts to it. First of all, the emotive side of buying something that's going to benefit someone's life, i.e., maybe someone buys a new car. It's the emotive nature of buying a new car, the new car smell, and all the rest of it. And the other side of emotion in the purchase decision is based around whether they like the person that they're dealing with. With that in mind, what do we need to do with our sales process? It's not just about what we're selling, but it's about who we are and how we come across. Okay, so people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, and therefore our proposition needs to include not just a great proposition in terms of the product or service, but also from the person it's coming from. Okay, so making your content memorable, making your content raise emotion, making your content put you across as likable, needs to have certain factors. It needs to entertain. It needs to inspire, educate, inform, and most importantly, open a dialogue, because we need a follow-on from that creation of an inquiry of interest. Okay, so the acronym is EIEIO, funny enough. And once we're online and once we're creating memorable content, we need to stand out. So how can we stand out? One of the most prominent ways of marketing online at the moment is via blogs or vlogs, video logs. Okay, and that's because research tells us, at least, that most engagement online is that of engagement with stories or videos. Okay, so what do we have to do in order to make that work? We need to have a magnetic, compelling headline. So we're going back to AIDA principles again here. We need to have a compelling lead, the first paragraph. Our blog should be maybe somewhere between 800 and 1500 words long. We should include subheadlines to break up the text so that they're easier to read. And what else should be in our blogs? We should be using perhaps keywords, search phrases, so that our blogs are prominently placed when people search those keywords and phrases. I always think the best blogs are conversational and informative, and they engage our readers to stick the distance and read it through. And to go along with that, appealing graphics, images, the visuals of any social media post are tending to be very, very popular amongst readers. And as I said before, a really strong call to action. Make it visible, make it prominent. If you're going to ask your reader or your subscriber to take a certain action, make sure that action is easy to take. And then contain relevant links. Make sure that your posts, your blogs, your vlogs, whatever, link to something relevant. Okay. Now with videos, 52% of marketers name video as the type of content with the best return on investment. Okay. Now video in recent times has become more and more important. So what do we mean by video, and how can you have video in your content strategy? Well, there are various ways. What we've seen in the past, and certainly in my network in the past, we've seen lots of hosted live interviews, which are really engaging, really worthwhile doing. It shows you adding value to your network, to your market, and it adds great value in the form of interviewing a specialist in a particular area. You could record a regular podcast. Podcasts can take a while to gain traction, but when they do gain traction, they can become very, very popular and can increase your following very, very quickly. Daily check-ins or tips and talks and stuff like that. So popping up online live unannounced with daily tips works really, really well, and it's something that within our network that happens an awful lot with Facebook Lives at a certain time every morning. And it works to great effect. When it comes to content, make sure it's great content. It takes precedence over production value. You don't need to have a TV studio to start putting video out there. Make sure it's authentic over stage. So you're better off coming across as someone who's just switched their video on and started talking, rather than staging, like I say, a professional TV show. Choose relevant content versus contrived, and there's a really good way of doing this. If you're concerned about not being creative enough to find the content you need to put out there, then there are great websites that can help you. One of them being answerthepublic.com. If you type in a topic in that website, that will give you a whole host of questions that people are asking at this current time around that subject. So if you want to answer a question that's got a lot of traction at this point in time, that's one way of doing it. Vary the lengths of your videos. You know, videos can be tips which are, you know, a minute, 2 minutes long, right through to Facebook Lives of 14, 15 minutes. If you vary the type of content that you're putting out there, vary the lengths, it's going to keep people engaged. It's different. They're not going to see the same thing every time. And when you're doing that sort of thing with a live video, measure engagement. So check for engagement spikes. And when you get good at doing this, you can build on what your customers respond to. So you can take the conversation in a direction that gets more engagement rather than what you think they want to hear. Okay. Now, by the way, if anyone at any point has any questions around any of the stuff we're going through today, then, you know, please do jot them in the chat box, and we'll certainly be sure at some point, probably towards the end of the webinar, to answer any questions there are. Okay, so being seen and getting seen and remaining seen, how do we do it? Well, choose your platforms. You need to understand that each platform has specific content focuses. So for argument's sake, if you are someone that likes writing and they're going to write blogs or a lot of longer content pieces, then the platform for that is likely to be something like LinkedIn. Whereas if you're using Facebook, Facebook is a more visual platform where they like more photographs and videos, and then shorter, maybe a paragraph of writing. And then if you go to somewhere like Instagram or Twitter, then we're talking about Instagram in particular, a photograph with a caption and nothing more. And Twitter will be, you know, a photograph and a few words or something like that. So it's really important that you choose the right content strategy for the right platform, because otherwise people turn off. They're not going to see what they want to see when they come onto your platform. What else can you do? Ensure your content and your posts are all shareable. Make sure people can share them. You can use hashtags, descriptor tags, you know, for SEO, links to websites. And create urgency with strong call to actions. And here you will really focus on quality, not just quantity. You know, you want to keep your readers or your viewers engaged. And the way you do that is by making sure the quality of the information you're providing is really adding value and is of interest to what they want to hear. Okay. So things like asking questions are always great. Posing challenges, engaging with live question and answer sessions, that sort of thing. And, you know, you might consider employing what we call the 90-10 rule. And this is whereby you might spend 90% of your focus and attention on two social media platforms, and experiment the rest of your time, 10% on the other platforms that you're not so focused on. Always, 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 always measure your progress, measure the results of what you're doing, because if you're not getting the results over a period of time that you want, then you're probably doing something wrong, and you might want to tweak it and see what makes it better. The benefit of doing all this stuff online is that there are, outside of what you might do yourself, there are often, with some of these platforms, great measurement tools. So you can measure the progress, you can measure how much your posts are being heard and what the responses are, and then you can adjust what you're doing accordingly. And above all, with whatever you do on any social media platform, the key here is consistency. If you're going to do it once a month, you're probably better off not doing it at all. If you're going to market online, market consistently, probably, I would have thought, depending on the platform, maybe even 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, but not just one week, every week. Because when you're building an online presence, you're trying to position yourself. Effectively, you're working your way to position yourself as the expert in what you do, and you're not going to be positioned as the expert unless your audience are seeing you consistently. So a little bit about measuring progress and testing and measuring. Well, on platforms like Facebook, you have the ability to boost your Facebook posts or create adverts. Now, yes, there is spending involved in this, but then if you're in business and you're growing your business, businesses that in the hope of growing organically very rarely grow very quickly. So, you know, growth-minded businesses tend to have a budget put aside for marketing, and this is one way you can spend some of that marketing and test the results you're getting the same way. So if you're going to do this sort of stuff, set a budget. Don't get carried away with it. Set a budget and stick to that budget, a budget that's not going to damage your cash flow too much and which is sustainable within your business model. Set your target audience. Now, Facebook has, amongst all of the platforms, probably the most in-depth and accurate and strongest targeting tools of any of the platforms. So with Facebook, you can set your target audience based on a whole range of factors: geography, age, demography, all sorts of things. So you can really hone down on who you're looking to hit. Now, the other thing to do here is maybe do split tests, A/B tests on your ads. So if you're marketing on Facebook, you might have one advert which is got one picture and a bit of text, another advert with a different picture and a different bit of text, and you can pit them against each other and see which one gets the better results. Facebook will automatically serve the advert that gets a better result, so you'll soon see what's working, what's not. It's a great way of using your budget to make sure that your ads are getting the results you desire. For Facebook, keep it simple, not too much text. It's a visual platform, so they don't like too much text, and Facebook will, you know, certainly on organic postings, withhold or hold your post back if they're too wordy. Always include a strong call to action, as I've said. Make it eye-catching. Add buttons, you know, link to your event or your website or whatever it is you're promoting. And if it's booking for an event or something like that, and you're linking to a landing page, make sure that landing page has got nothing but focus on the event you're trying to sell or book out, or whatever it is you're trying to do. Make sure that it's very clear, concise, and it doesn't divert the prospect away from booking, making the final booking. Your imagery should match the audience. If you're promoting something creative, make sure your advert and your imagery is creative. If it's dynamic and corporate, make sure it's a corporate picture. Make sure that your imagery matches the audience you're trying to reach. Like I've said, the copy needs to be simple to accompany that post. Ensure your branding is strong, and as I've said, track your performance regularly in the ad center on the Facebook dashboard. So the same way as the targeting tools on Facebook are top class, the performance test and measure on the dashboard is also very in depth. So it will give you the opportunity to see how well your adverts are doing against a range of you know, different KPIs. Okay, so this is something. This is what it looks like on a platform like Facebook, where you can really split test your adverts. If you've got an ad campaign, you can have 2 separate ad sets, or even more, I believe. And then for each ad set, you can have different ads, and you can see which ones do the best, and you can switch off the ones that aren't doing so well and crank up the ones that are doing better. Now, if we are going to look at our customers in a way that we're going to try and solve their problems, we need to create trust. Now, the formula for trust is credibility multiplied by reliability multiplied by likability divided by self-interest as perceived by the other person. So that means to say that the amount of credibility, reliability, and likability we create within our marketplace is only undermined by what is perceived in us to be self-interest. So the hidden point of impact is what works here. we really ought to be focusing on not the ultimate goal of what we're trying to achieve as business people of earning revenue for our business, generating revenue for our business, but in adding value to our customers, adding value and making sure that their problems are being solved by our solution. If we can do that and be genuine about it, and if you genuinely want to keep your customers happy, you're going to do this. You're going to provide what they need, knowing that in all probabilities that's going to come back to you at some point in the form of revenue for your business or profit for your business. Then the focus has to be solely away from self-interest and towards achieving what your customers want. And that's because at the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They'll remember how you made them feel. Okay. So why now? So as I said, why talk about marketing now? Because it is so much more important to be telling customers, clients, suppliers, potential stakeholders what we're doing, how we're open for business. And if we're not, what we're doing to get back to work. Don't become the best kept secret in your industry. Okay, now it just remains for me to thank you all for joining me this afternoon. Next steps for you guys, I would love for you to give me some feedback, or if you have any further questions that you'd rather ask me outside of this session, then you can email me at williamroig@actioncoach.com. If you'd like to talk more specifically about what some of this information means to you and your businesses, then you can book a complimentary session in my diary. You can find that on my website. If you Google William Roig, I tend to come up right at the top. There's not many of me. And thirdly, if you want to look out for my following workshop, which will delve deeper into the sales process, otherwise known as a customer journey, we're going to cover things such as afters, sales questions, process, USP and guarantee. Then look out for that. That will be on social media. And finally, if you would be so kind to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I can be found in both places. So before we sign off, it'd be great if you could, if you've got any questions, please do let me know. Failing that, we will bid you a good afternoon and see you again. Great. So it seems that everyone's satisfied they've got the information they want. So on that note, thank you all for joining me. Oh, we have just had a question come in. Okay, yeah, fine, no problem. Then I can fill you in, and this is being recorded, so I can also send that on to you, so you can get the first half of it. But that's fine. I shall speak to you tomorrow anyway. So brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, so I think that's it. So brilliant. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Like I say, if any questions come up after the event, then I am fairly easy to find on social media, or if you've got my email address, then please do feel free to send me an email, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have for me. Have a great end to your week, guys, and I look forward to catching up with you all again soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye now.